Hello, this is Tim Hellman.
And I am Jake Tenpass.
And this is Movie Talk. Today we're going to review our top 10 movies of 2015. My number 10 movie was Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
I've not seen that, Tim.
You haven't?
No.
It's a little depressing, but ultimately inspiring. And it's about a filmmaker, a high school filmmaker. So.
My number 10 movie is Sleeping with Other People, largely because most romantic comedies are total garbage that I absolutely hate and would never even consider seeing. And I watched that movie and I thought it was both funny and sweet, and but didn't pull any punches. Jason Sudeikis, I have been told by people, is my celebrity double, and his name is Jake in it. Mm-hmm. And so I get to listen to Alison Brie fawn over a man named Jake, which what's not to like about that? I know you don't think she's all that, but man, I adore Alison Brie.
Okay. My number 9 is The Road Within. The lead character has Tourette syndrome, and another character has OCD, and the female character has anorexia, and it's just a great examination of people bonding with different disorders. Okay. The director started following me on Twitter after she read my review.
You're 2 for 2 of movies I have not seen. My number 9 movie is The Gift. Joel Edgerton is so good in it. It is an amazing story of the way that the terrible things that we do when we're young follow us into our older age. It has interesting commentary on bullies, on the lies that we tell ourselves about our lives, and the fact that Joel Edgerton not only plays a great character, but also wrote and directed it. Also the fact that it was kind of billed as a low-budget horror movie, but I think it had a lot more soul than a lot of horror movies do.
I don't like everything the character did in response to it. I mean, if it paints victims out to be that way, then it's more harmful than it does good, but I don't think it's supposed to be taken like every guy that was bullied is going to turn out to be.
It was an interesting
vengeful.
But it was an interesting tale of revenge and a very different angle on revenge for a movie. Mm-hmm. And I do like watching a sympathetic character get revenge, and ultimately, despite all that he did and how creepy he was, they really did make him sympathetic, which I thought was a tall order. So. And
also demonstrated how bullies justify their actions.
And diminish the suffering of others when they're doing it and after the fact. So, yes, absolutely.
My number 8 is Joy. It had Jennifer Lawrence. It's directed by David O. Russell, so...
So that's pretty much a given, right? Yeah. My number 8 movie is Maps to the Stars, the David Cronenberg
That was actually the year before.
It's a 2015 on what I just looked at.
We don't have to be that technical.
Yeah, we could sub in some. We could sub in something else.
Theaters till this year, but
okay.
It was last year Oscars, so.
Well, thanks for getting all technical on me, Tim. I thought it was a really interesting portrayal of life in Hollywood and the bizarre obsession with fame that we have and the way that it turns people into monsters.
My number 7 was Freeheld.
Who plays the main character?
Julianne Moore.
Oh, I love Julianne Moore.
And Ellen Page is their partner in it.
Okay.
And Michael Shannon, her police detective partner.
Oh, wow, that's a killer cast.
No, it's a good movie.
My number 7 movie is The Big Short. I felt like it was wildly depressing in its examination of corporate greed in the U.S., yet it was really cleverly executed. Just the format of it was really interesting. I thought Christian Bale was unbelievable in it.
His character.
And I thought Steve Carell was very relatable. If you don't know anything about the economic collapse of 2008, it is a great primer. I honestly think everybody should have to see that movie before they vote in the upcoming election, because if you don't understand the way people are beholden to banks, the way that the government has interacted with banks over time, I think it's just a really great sort of crash course to get you thinking.
Conservatives will dismiss it as liberal propaganda, but...
I dismiss a lot of conservatives, so that's fine, Tim.
My number 6 is Steve Jobs. I really like Aaron Sorkin. I love The Social Network, and I thought this movie really compared to it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not seen a single one of those movies. Tim, this is awesome. I'm learning a lot. I appreciate that. My number 6 was Ex Machina. I mean, I love a good science fiction movie. I love a movie about the creation of artificial intelligence or the way that it plays out. I mean, a story about it in general, whether you're talking about Into the Void or whether you're talking about whatever. Anytime you're examining the concept of human intelligence, I'm on board.
My number 5 is It Follows. I know you didn't like it as much as me, but I loved it. It was just really moody, and it reminded me of the horror movies I grew up on.
I found it to be a bit of a letdown at the end, but I definitely thought it was a pretty interesting horror movie overall. My number 5 movie was Mad Max Fury Road. It's the movie maybe that broke my belief I mean, I never had strong belief in CGI, but that movie absolutely shattered its back. Not that there isn't CGI, but it's CGI used in the right way, which is to subtly enhance a scene rather than to be the focal point of it. It was a simple story that was elaborately told.
My number 4 is The Hateful Eight. I saw it at the Hollywood Theater in Portland, and it was one of the best movie-going experiences of my life.
My number 4 movie was Kingsman: The Secret Service, which I felt was arguably the second best action movie of the year, and actually was also my second favorite comedy of the year. I felt like it was hilarious. I felt like it stuck it to absolutely everybody, regardless of their political opinions, regardless of their position in society. I laughed my ass off, and it was a beautiful homage to old Bond movies.
My number 3 was The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 2. I love the whole series, and I just thought it was a great epic conclusion.
Better than The Hateful Eight? What are you talking about?
I love The Hunger Games, and I love Jennifer Lawrence too.
Okay, that's interesting. I thought it was good. I'll agree with you there. My number 3 movie was Inside Out. I was floored by how much insightful commentary there is about the human experience in that movie. I really felt a lot during it, both laughing my ass off and also feeling a lot of empathy for the characters and what they're going through. For a movie that says sort of high concept and cerebral in terms of what it is, it's very accessible, and I believe almost anybody could watch that movie and like it.
It's a great examination on depression and your inner thoughts.
It made a really great point, which is that sadness is not bad. Sadness can be something that is really beautiful, and I thought it was beautiful in that movie.
Denying sadness can be more harmful than accepting
As the movie once again greatly illustrates.
Yeah. My number 2 was Mad Max Fury Road. I loved it. I thought it was a great action movie. It was just beautifully shot. Visuals were great. Charlize Theron was amazing.
My number 2 movie was What We Do in the Shadows. It is a mockumentary about 4 vampires living together. It is both equal parts comedy that is funny and brutal and could be enjoyed by anybody regardless of knowledge or lack thereof of vampire movies, and all the characters were really likable, considering they're all bloodthirsty fiends. But that was my favorite comedy of the year without a doubt.
Okay. My number 1 was Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It was just so nostalgic for me. It was everything I'd been waiting for that the prequels didn't deliver on. What did you think of Daisy Ridley?
I thought she was great.
Yeah, she was
I thought she was absolutely great. I thought the acting was really good in it. I think for me the problem was it felt more like a patchwork quilt of themes and concepts from the other movies.
Outstanding, I thought.
Well, that's how I felt about my number 1 movie, which is The Hateful Eight. I just can't really say enough that I basically felt like it was a perfect movie. Not only was the experience of watching it in 70mm on the Traveling Roadshow edition utterly engrossing, I loved the throwback to old Hollywood. I loved all the things that we've come to expect from Tarantino, his signature fonts, the type of humor he works in. But to me, it was a Quentin Tarantino movie that made me feel more than I have since the Kill Bill movies. I felt like this movie was over 3 hours of utterly biting, convincing dialogue uttered by some of the best actors in Hollywood. Jennifer Jason Leigh absolutely deserves Best Supporting Actress for her role in that. I love Walton Goggins. I mean, I've loved Walton Goggins since The Shield.
I like Kurt Russell in it.
I mean, picking your favorite actor in that movie is really hard because even though Michael Madsen doesn't have as many lines, he delivers them perfectly and they're all suited for him as an actor. Every actor is perfectly cast in that movie.
How about Channing Tatum?
You know, to me it was all about Sam Jackson and Walton Goggins and Kurt Russell. Like, those 3 were really the heart of it. Some people may be offended by all the uses of the N-word in it or by violence against women, but I think that Tarantino really knows what he's doing. If America is going to embrace public figures who are racist, and I'm not going to name any names right now, but that clearly happens, then we deserve to have our faces rubbed in the ugly side of that. We deserve to hear that word that we're all implying when we say mean-spirited stuff about whatever ethnicity it is. We deserve to see characters carrying that to its logical conclusion. And I thought that movie really had a lot to say about the America that we live in, where police brutality is rampant, where political candidates feel completely fine dismissing entire groups of people. You could go on and on. I mean, there's a whole analysis to be made of that movie. All that is wonderful, and I ate it up. But it's also funny as hell. The action occurs at unexpected times, but suffice it to say, I found it so satisfying and enjoyable, and I saw it twice in the theater, and I cannot wait to see it again.